Welcome back to my channels. For those who don't know me, I am SugarCube22 and I'm just here making fun My Little Pony videos because I want to and I can. As you know, this show has always been so special to me and so music to talk about. So this is why I'm here. Last time I made a top 15 of My Little Pony most reasonable crashouts, but this time I'll only make a top 10 for y'all. Have fun and get yourself some snacks. Number 10, Season 1, Episode 21, Spike and Rarity getting mad at their friends for not keeping it down when they were supposed to sleep. Have you ever been in a sleepover where instead of going to sleep, your friends kept making noises all night? Well, this is exactly what Spike and Rarity had to deal with while traveling by train to Appaloosa. The episode began with Rarity, the diva of the group, becoming upset with Applejack for giving a luxurious private room to her tree, Bloomberg, instead of her. Rarity is looking forward to get a beauty sleep and hates the idea of sharing a sleeping car with the other ponies or being far too noisy. As for Spike, the baby dragon spends the entire day roasting snack for the ponies. In return, he hopes that they will give him some extra sleep.
No.
However, when bedtime arrives, the Rainbow Pinkie Pie, Twilight, and Fluttershy keep talking instead of sleeping. The conversation goes on and on, especially when Fluttershy starts discussing about her dream of becoming a tree, which makes no sense at all. Eventually, Spike has had enough.
Oh, for Pete's sake!
He snaps and storms off to Bluebird's room. Instead of taking his frustration seriously, the others laugh at his outburst. Rarity then loses her patience as well, and sharply tells every pony to be quiet.
Would you all be quiet now?
I've never seen Rarity raising a voice like this. Poor Spike had every right to get upset. Due to his young age, he needs more time to sleep. Number 9. Season 8, Episode 14, Starlight snapping at Discord. This episode is a perfect example of why Discord isn't always taken seriously, and you will see why. Starlight Glimmer, who has become a counselor at Twilight School of Friendship, is asked to replace her mentor as the school's head mayor with the help of Spike. The reason was that Twilight and her friends have been called away by the friendship map on a mission that could take several days. After Spike and Starlight say goodbye to their friends, Discord, the Lord of Chaos, suddenly appears out of nowhere. What surprised me is that this seemed to be his very first visit to the School of Friendship, but after watching the rest of the episode, however, I was no longer surprised considering all the chaos he has caused. During Starlight's first day as temporary head mayor, the Dragon Magus decides to disrupt her routine by filling the school office with chaos magic. He also brings in some very questionable substitute teachers, including Aaron Will, Cranky Doodle Donkey, and even a tree. Cranky is supposed to teach coaching skills, but instead he ends up showing students how to enjoy spa treatments. The next day, Starlight hires actual substitute teachers such as Mudpie, Spitfire, and her friend Trixie. Unfortunately, Discord returns and causes even more disruption during class. Eventually, after a physical education lesson taught by Spitfire, Starlight and Spike would shake on the student. At that moment, Discord appears once again and starts teasing everyone. He continues to provoke Starlight until the young unicorn finally had enough. In response, she casts a spell on him unlike anything previously seen in this series.
Take it easy, Starlight. Discord's your friend, remember? Well, he's not acting like it. She's right, Discord. What's your problem?
My problem? How is the fact that Twilight decided to put an incompetent, power-hungry unicorn in charge of her school my problem?
The My Little Pony fandom believes that the show's reformed villains receive special treatment compared to other characters. Starlight, Glimmer, and Discord are often used as examples, since both of them were once powerful and dangerous villains. Some fans argue that Starlight received better treatment than Discord. However, I personally think that there's a reason for that. Starlight usually takes her responsibilities very seriously and most of her mistakes are unintentional. Discord, on the other hand, he often creates unnecessary drama and enjoys rage-baiting the opponents for his own amusement. Because of this, it is easier for me to sympathize with Starlight when she makes a mistake. Discord frequently causes problem on purpose, which makes his action much harder to excuse even after his reformation.
I never thought it would happen. My friends have turned into complete jerks!
Number 8. Season 2 Episode 2, Twilight getting frustrated because of her friends acting like complete jerks. Discord back at it again, being responsible for yet another emotional breakdown. This time it is a throwback to his days as a supervillain during his debut in Season 2, when he was spreading chaos throughout Ponyville. First, he hides the elements of harmony from the main 6. The girls must travel through the palace labyrinth to find them. But Discord gains the upper hoof by separating them and manipulate their emotions. He eventually brainwashes Twilight's friends, transforming them into the complete opposite of their true selves. Applejack, who represents honesty, starts telling lies. Pinkie Pie becomes grumpy, Rarity becomes gritty, Fluttershy turns into a bully, and Rainbow Dash becomes so disloyal. While trying to make her way back to the library, poor Twilight, who was still a unicorn at that time, had to deal with her friends acting nothing like themselves. And if you want me to be honest, Fluttershy and Rarity were the worst of all of them. They were so insufferable. After they arrive at the library, Spike gives Twilight the book that explains the story of the elements of harmony. However, Fluttershy and the others take the book away from her and start playing keep away with it. Faced with what her friends have become, the purple unicorn finally loses her patience.
Give me that book! Where's she? Where's Rarity?
Beats me.
Rise!
Police steady watching me. Every day they clocking me. Red alert, I'm the dangerous. I keep that clock on me. And they ain't looking for no trouble. I'm just looking out for me. Cause I done did shit the niggas ain't talking about no.
Number 7. Season 4 Episode 19. Apple Bloom being sick and tired of her big sis being too overprotective. Apple Bloom, who is the blossom of the Crusaders, gets to spend time home alone for the very first time. All the siblings must travel across Equestria to steal some apple pies, while her Granny Smith had to visit some pony hunting. She is very excited and promised them that she won't let them down. However, there's one member of the Apple family who is not comfortable with the idea of Apple Bloom being home alone, her big sister, Applejack. On her way to work with Big Mac, Applejack is reminding her brother about the chores that they supposedly forgot to add to Apple Bloom's list. Most of them are extremely minor.
Yup.
I just keep on thinking of things I forgot to put on her list. Like, I didn't write down that if she wants to get a spoon out of the drawer, she needs to open the drawer first.
Really, Applejack? Are you kidding me? The Orange Mare eventually decides to return to Sweet Apple Acres to check on her little sister. By that point, Apple Bloom has already finished all of her chores and is looking forward to enjoy some time by herself until Applejack shows up and ruins the moment. Throughout the day, Applejack keeps hovering over her, constantly questioning her decisions and treating her like she cannot take care of herself. Apple Bloom does everything she can prove that she's a responsible young filly, but Applejack refuses to back up. Later, Apple Bloom comes home wearing a helmet only to discover that the entire living room has been covered in protective plastic. At that point, the situation has become completely ridiculous. Eventually, Apple Bloom has had enough of Applejack's overprotective behavior and finally blows up to her.
But really, I'm fine. I can take care of myself. I don't need you watching over me.
Aw, that's sweet. I appreciate you trying to make me feel better, but don't worry. I'll always be here for you. Always.
From Applejack's perspective, her parent died when she was very young, so I can understand where some of her protective tendencies come from. She is genuinely afraid that something bad might happen to her little sister. Even so, I still think she goes way too far in this episode and comes across very overbearing. Number 6, Season 7, Episode 8, Sugar Belle's Crash Out. Let me tell you, the episode in which this crisis took place was a total second embarrassment. We discovered that Big Macintosh, the oldest sibling of the Apple family, had a big crush on a sweet young mare named Sugar Belle, a unicorn with a pink coat and a curly purple mane. He often travels to our town, Starlight's former village, to deliver large quantities of apples. It quickly becomes clear that Sugar Belle likes him as well. The Cutie Crusaders decided to spy on Big Mac to find out what's really going on, and soon volunteered to help him win Sugar Belle's heart. However, there is one problem. Featherbanks, another male pony who Sugar Belle also seemed interested in. Unfortunately for Big Mac, Featherbanks is more popular, more confident, and has much better hair. Apple Bloom and the Crusaders decided to help Big Mac compete with him in order to win Sugar Belle's affection. What confuses me is why Big Mac would agree to let the Crusaders help him in the first place. Why would he think that a group of fillies who are practically still in elementary school and have little to no romantic experience will be the perfect matchmakers? These were the same ponies who once accidentally used a love potion on him and Shirley. This episode would have been more fun if it was Spike in Discord joining him. First, Scootaloo comes up with a plan in which she pretends to be a thief dressed as a clown who steals Sugar Belle's bag. Big Mac is supposed to rescue her, but Featherbanks end up stealing the spotlight instead. Second, Sweetie Belle suggests an idea inspired by a fairy tale that she loves as a filly. According to a plan, Big Mac should dress up as like a prince and wake up Sugar Belle with a kiss. Seriously? The situation turns out to be incredibly awkward. Just look at Sugar Belle's face. She looks terrified. Why would the Crusaders think this was a good idea? Oh my god, kids.
Are you not embarrassed? This is really embarrassing.
Third, things become even more ridiculous. Big Mac sneaks into Sugar Belle's house to sing a romantic song for her. At first, the gesture seems sweet, but then Featherbanks shows up and starts singing as well. The two stallions end up competing through increasingly cheesy love songs in an attempt to impress her. Eventually, their rivalry turns into an accident. Both stallions fall on top of Sugar Belle, and she finally loses her passion, which is completely understandable.
What in Equestria has gotten into you two? If you think I'm the kind of pony that likes all this nonsense, then you clearly don't know me at all. I wish every pony would just leave me alone.
Wow, man. Damn.
Number 5, Season 4, Episode 21, Rainbow Dash getting under pressure for our Wonderbolt exam. I am pretty sure that a lot of people could relate to Dashi in this episode. She had to be ready for a Wonderbolt history exam. For Pegasus to be considered an excellent applicant, they don't have to be just good based on their flying skills, but also good academically, which is something Rainbow thinks she lacks. Princess Twilight the nerd helps her with her own studying method that helps her pass all of her exams, such as note cards and text annotations. Dash had struggled with concentration on the studying method, and asked Twilight if she could just watch the Wonderbolt history documentary, but she refuses. Then Twilight tries to evaluate her to see if she retained everything. As I can see, she learned nothing. Twilight's method of studying did not really help Rainbow Dash, so she lashes at her. Fluttershy stops Rainbow Dash and Twilight from digging at each other, and with the kind pony that she is, helps Rainbow with her own studying method. Her method consisted of using pets as actors on stage to present the story of the Wonderbolt. I'm not sure this was a great method, but anyway, Rainbow was totally confused. Pinkie Pie comes out of nowhere and wants to help the Skittles pony through some musical intervention while rapping. That did not help Rainbow Dash at all. She tried to repeat Pinkie's lyrics, but she couldn't even remember the lyrics. The fashion pony Rarity comes to her rescue and make a presentation of the historical fashion of the Wonderbolt, which was very fun, but not for Rainbow Dash. AJ honestly had nothing to help Rainbow with, but at least she was honest about it. Rainbow, that situation becomes very frustrating. She only had 12 hours left of studying before exam. Every pony just kept arguing about who should be helping Rainbow with studying, but then she loses her composure.
No rapping, no cards, no costumes, no play, and no apples! I am never gonna pass this test, ever! Just forget it!
Pretty much a lot of people could relate to Ashley in this episode. At least she gets an happy ending. Number 4. Season 2 Episode 5, Rarity snapping at Sweetie Belle for destroying her exploration room. Look, I've seen people trying to antagonize Rarity on this episode, but they would never understand the reality of dealing with a little sibling who just do little sibling things. This stylist walks to her parents who tell her on the last minute that she will have to spend the entire week with Sweetie Belle, her little sister, who's really excited to see her.
Cleaned up? But we haven't even eaten yet.
God, I miss her little voice. However, I would still hate to be on Rarity's situations because the girl was seriously occupied. Rarity asks Sweetie Belle to do the laundry, and the little filly obeys with no hesitations. She walks up into a nice looking thick shirt and puts it on the washing machine with the other items. The first mistake she ever made was to wash this very expensive sweater and put it on the heat. Sweetie Belle apologizes and her sister tries to stay calm. Later on the episode, Sweetie Belle is getting bored with nothing else to do due to Rarity being too busy on her work. Suddenly, she finds crayons with colored papers. She finally had an idea to make a beautiful drawing. The unicorn filly thinks something is missing, so she turns around and catches sight of beautiful gems. After Rarity is done with her work, Sweetie Belle comes to her to show her beautiful drawing she made. But Rarity was dumbfounded by the gems that her sister used were super rare and were for an ensemble for a very important client. Now Rarity had to find more gems of this jar, so because of Sweetie Belle, the filly asked her sister if she could go with her, but Rarity refuses and tells Sweetie Belle to stay home and take away the messes that she has caused. Sweetie Belle is just trying to do everything right as she said, but then things get even more messier when she enters the Rarity's inspiration room to clean all over the mess. Except that this mess had to be retained for Rarity to continue her work. Rarity then comes back home from the gem store and sees that her room has been completely cleaned, but not in a good way. She loses her cool this time.
My inspiration room! What did you do? What did you do? This wasn't a mess! It was organized chaos! I was just about finished planning my new fashion line! You went and you put everything away!
But every time I make a mess, you get upset.
But this was my mess! In my house! And now I have to start from scratch!
But I thought it would make you happy.
Happy! I just need some time alone.
The viewers can keep yapping about Rarity being a bad sister all they want, but that simply isn't true. She has shown incredible passion with Sweetie Belle on countless occasions, even when Sweetie Belle kept making things harder for her. Don't get me wrong, I really felt for Sweetie Belle because she was genuinely trying to make her older sister happy. However, Rarity was incredibly busy that week and still did her best to balance everything. If everyone deserved the blames, it's their parents for dropping Sweetie Belle off of Rarity's house at the last minute without considering how packed her schedule already was. Number 3. Season 9 Episode 20, Starlight fears at Trixie's immature behavior. If you already watched Season 9 of My Little Pony, Friendship is Magic, you should already know that Starlight Glimmer, the pony who used to be Princess Twilight Sparkle's pupil, officially becomes the head mare of the school of Friendship after Twilight becomes the new ruler of Equestria. Starlight is amazed by this promotion that could change her life, but she will need some help. Twilight suggests that she gets a vice head mare, some pony she can trust on the job. Trixie spies on them and is thrilled with this opportunity. Shorty really thought she could get the job with just one half clap. Starlight decides to hold audition with 4 other ponies interested in the position: Big Macintosh, Octavia Melody, Dr. Hoof, and Spoiled Rich. Starlight explains how the audition is supposed to take place. According to her, it will be divided into 3 stages. The ponies who do the best job will move on the next stage, which is a very strategic plan. For the first stage, they have to substitute for the teachers. Big Mac goes to Rarity's class to teach the other ponies. Creatures. How to sue. Spoiled Rich, who is one of the most slight characters in the show by the way, goes to Dash's class to teach the students how to be loyal to bits, based on a business book. The beautiful Octavia Melody is sent to Rare Pinkie Pie's class to teach the students how to play music. Trixie is acting a little silly during class while teaching her students how to sleep. By the time Starlight evaluates the candidates, she rejects Spoiled Rich without hesitation. But when it comes to Trixie, she gives her another chance just because she wants to work with her best friend. Girl, please. The next challenge is meeting the students' parents. Everything seems wholesome at first, until we see Trixie arguing with Grandpa Gruff, who was a total and very neglectful towards poor Gallus. Trixie yells at him, valid crash out by the way, saying that most guardians will want to be involved in their students' lives, and that maybe somebody else should represent Griffin Stone. The last challenge for the candidates is to organize a field trip. Octavia brings the students to a classical music performance. Dr. Hooves brings them to his lab, and Trixie, her dumbass, says to bring the students to Foggy Bottom Bog. It wasn't even a real trip. She had to cast a spell to make it feel like they were actually in Foggy Bottom Bog. One of the dumbest idea characters ever had in the show. What was she thinking? Then the blue magician lowers her head, accidentally knocks down a flesh bee nest, and it falls to the ground. The students were all terrified and run out of the classroom. Glim then tells Trixie to follow the children outside while she uses her magic to stop the flesh bees.
Starlight? Hey there. So, they're gone? Yes. Nice teamwork, am I right?
Are you kidding? I don't know what team you're on, but it isn't mine. This was a disaster. It was dangerous.
I think the words you're looking for are great and powerful.
It wasn't even acceptable! You went from not taking it seriously to blowing things so out of proportion you put every creature in danger. And I wanted to work with a friend so much, I ignored the fact that you would never be right for the job.
If you want me to be honest, yes, Starlight's outburst was understandable, but both she and Trixie were in the wrong this episode. Trixie was clearly a poised choice for the position of Vice Mayor, yet Starlight kept advancing her through each round of the selection process, even after seeing that she was literally sleeping while her students sat on their desks instead of teaching them an actual lesson. Despite all that, Starlight still let her move on because she believed that she could help her improve and wanted the chance to work alongside her bestie. In the end, her personal feelings got in the way of making the right professional decision. Number 2. Equestria Girls were the closer of friendship. AJ snapping at Rarity for being blind about Vignette Valencia. We finally get to see AJ getting a moment. Except that it's in Equestria Girls, where she, Rarity, and the rest of the group go to the roller coaster park called Equestria Land to have fun. Don't you hate it when you tell your friends that something feels off about someone or something, but they automatically dismiss you, call you paranoid, and then the next day it turns out that you were right this whole freaking time? That's exactly what happens when Applejack discovers Vignette's darkest secret. So it starts when Rarity gets hired as the lead costume designer for the Light Parade, a huge festival that is inspired by her fashion style and her many followers. While working there, she becomes close friends with another fashionable young woman named Vignette Valencia, who has over 1 million followers on the fictional social media platform Snapgap. Rarity invites her friends to Equestria Land to have fun. One day, we arrive at the park to visit her. Suddenly, Vignette appears and all her friends are immediately surrounding her, asking her for selfies and autographs. AJ had no idea who she was, so her friends were explaining to her that Vignette is a famous influencer on Snapchat, who also has a pet named Yas Queen, and even hangs out with famous athletes who probably want to date her.
Wow.
Applejack doesn't seem impressed at all and doesn't understand the hype. She is much more interested in seeing Rarity than meeting Vignette. Later, we found out that Vignette and Rarity have become close friends and that Vignette is now Rarity's boss. AJ doesn't seem happy about that. There's also one scene when Vignette asks to borrow Rarity's phone. They get selfie because hers has been acting weird. For those who don't know, Vignette possesses equestrian magic that allows her to make things disappear while taking pictures with her smartphone. She starts by making a bowl of salad disappear. Then she tries to cast a spell on Rarity's friends, starting with Fluttershy and eventually making Sunset Shimmer, Twilight Sparkle, and Pinkie Pie, plus the others, disappears as well. Applejack is the only member of the group who thinks Vignette is acting suspiciously. She keeps looking for Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash, but they are nowhere to be found. She then checks the security cameras and discovers Vignette's darkest secret. Applejack then rushes to Rarity's department to warn her about Vignette, right in front of the influencer herself. She doesn't show any fear of concern because she believes Applejack had no proof against her. That is exactly why Rarity didn't believe AJ. At that point, Applejack finally snaps. She goes off on Rarity for being too naive and blind, completely losing her cool. To the point that she made Rarity cry.
Bigger than the parade, Applejack!
I know you didn't just say that about your missing friends.
Applejack, admit it! You don't care about my parade!
My parade? This isn't about you. She's done something to our friends.
Is this about our friends or about you and Vignette? Ever since she gave me this opportunity, you've been jealous because she sees my potential, but she didn't hire you!
You're so blind you can't even see she's using you. You only like her because she's always blowing smoke up your chimney. But that's what she does to everyone. You're not special.
It was so funny and accurate to see how the human version of AJ, as a traditional country girl, barely gets to see what life is outside of the farm. She had a hard time understanding how Vignette Valencia was so popular on social media for making the most basic posts. Pretty privilege is real. Nobody realized how awful she actually was. Before revealing her number one reasonable crush out, we gotta go with the honorable mention first. Too bad they couldn't make it to the list.
I was trying to say... Ugh, never mind. Your tail, oink, 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 then you wriggle your snout. Oink, 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 then you wriggle your rump. Oink, 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 and shout it out. Oink, oink, oink. Your tail, oink, 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 then you wriggle your snout. Celestia wants to give me some kind of exam and you're trying to tell me to calm down because it's just a test! Yes?
I'd say she's handling things pretty well, considering.
Every pony thinking about us? There's just no way that we can get in the zone because the zone sounds like a horrible place since we are terrible at football and we are going to lose and let every pony down and we don't want to play anymore!
Remember Flurry Heart, Twilight, and her friends?
We need to...
They took Fluttershy.
Yes.
Where?
We were just sitting in a white room the whole time?
So you guys didn't know that?
Number 1, Season 5, Episode 12. Moondancer's meltdown while Princess Twilight wanted to organize a party for her. Princess Twilight and her assistant Spike went to their hometown, Controlot, to reunite with their old friends. They met Minuet, who's my favorite of the three, Twinkle Shine, and Lemon Heart at a donut shop, and everything was all fun and sweet. They were chilling and giggling. Twilight Sparkle then came to apologize for leaving them a long time ago for a new life at Ponyville. The three unicorns started to laugh because they were already used to Twilight being cold and they didn't take it too personally. Her old Controlot friends then made her visit their old science lab. They tried to recreate their memories of them to when they were little, and the Yellow Princess suddenly remembered a childhood friends named Moondancer, a yellow unicorn with red and purple hair, with the exact same haircut as Twilight. Both were very good students. Princess Twilight asked Minuet, Twinkle, Shine, and Lemonheart what happened to Moondancer. They respond that they haven't seen her since Twilight moved to Ponyville. Twinkle says that she probably lives by the stadium now, and they all want to see her. Dick knocked through her door, finally got to see her and what she has become. Moondancer didn't seem too excited to see her down, because she had to study and she slammed the door to their faces. 3 days later, Twilight, Spy, and Minuet went to a cafe close to a library where Moondancer studies to spy on her. Twilight tried to do her best to reconcile with the yellow unicorn by meeting her to the public library, to her old home filled with dusty books, to a fancy restaurant where Moondancer still denied spending time with her old friends. Twilight then remembers the last time she saw her old friends before she went to Ponyville. We see a scene from the very first episode of My Little Pony where Twinkle, Shine, Lemonheart, and Minuet invite Unicorn Twilight at Moondancer's parties, but she rejects the invitations due to her being super busy. The Unicorn Princess bursts into tears. This scene was so hard to watch. She then brings the party pony Pinkie Pie with her to Controlot. Then we see Moondancer leaving the library to home, then falls into a trap that leads her to the party the Princess of Friendship organized with the help of Pinkie. Moondancer still didn't show any sign of interest or satisfaction. Then Twilight tells her that she is trying to repair the mistake that she has done for not showing off to Moondancer's party and had to stop contacting her. The Yellow Mare raised her voice to the Purple Alicorn and told her off about how much she suffered from isolation after she left. This was so heartbreaking. And let me say that whoever plays Moondancer's voice has killed this scene.
That was only the first time I ever put myself out there, and then you didn't even bother to show up. Then you left town without saying goodbye, even though we were supposed to be friends. I was humiliated. I felt like I wasn't important. I never wanted to let myself be hurt like that again. Those three finally convinced me that I had value, that other ponies might like me and want to be my friend, and you didn't show up!
Imagine having a childhood friend that you did stick by, and then in your adult years, you invite her to your little party that she declined, and then you never saw or heard from her again. Then you found out that she made new friends and talked about how she never got to experience friendship, even though you two had been friends since childhood at magic school. After that, you found out that she became a princess with the title of Princess of Friendship all these years, and Twilight forgot about her old gang? The first time I watched this episode in 2015, I felt sorry for Moondancer. But at the same time, from Twilight spoke outside of the story throughout the show, so let's just send her to Ponyville to make new friends, even though she already had some in Controlot. She wanted her most faithful twin to start a new chapter without giving the viewers the chance to see how she lived as a Controlot girlie. Now that I'm watching this show again in my 20s, I can tell that the first few seasons of My Little Pony were poorly written. I respect Twilight Sparkle for trying to reunite with her old friends from her hometown and wanting to make up for her mistakes. As the Princess of Friendship herself, she still had some lesson to learn, and this was the hardest. This is the end of my series of the most reasonable crashouts of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. You're good with this list? Are you satisfied with this list? Comment, subscribe, and share. Check out my new channels to see part 1. Ciao!